OK, there's a little bit of irony here because one of our shows with the biggest numbers of the week is on YouTube, and that's one of the platforms that's right at the heart of the debates around teenagers and social media use. Under Australia's social media minimum age legislation, which will take effect this December, social media operators will be required to take what are called reasonable steps to ensure that under 16s do not have or do not maintain accounts. What in the World's Hannah Gelbart chats with BBC journalist Hayley Clark about phone addiction and young people. And this episode was first posted 9 months ago, by the way, but this week has racked up a further 300,000 plays.
So what evidence do we actually have that smartphones, affect our brains, our mental health?
I think that's really still emerging. So you're absolutely right. Scientists don't agree on this. Some scientists say we definitely have data. We know phones are bad for young people's mental health. But then on the other side, some scientists argue there's not robust data. We don't know yet. And actually more needs to be done over longer periods of time to say whether this is definitely an issue. So there's one guy who's American and he's written a book which has had loads of publicity. He's a social psychologist called Jonathan Haidt. And this is him talking about his theory.
It's the complete transformation of childhood that took place between 2010 and 2015, so that before then, hardly any kids had a smartphone. They didn't have high-speed data plans. They had to pay for their texts. So you couldn't really be online for 6 hours a day before 2010. You had a flip phone. By 2015, everything's changed. The great majority have a smartphone with a high-speed data plan. They have an Instagram account. And now they can be on 10 hours a day. And they're on more than 10 hours a day in that even when they're not, they're thinking about it. And so my argument is that human childhood evolved for young people to play, learn social skills, learn adult skills, and they used to do that. But once we develop this phone-based childhood, it just blocks almost every avenue of development. And that's why we see, for boys and for girls, an elbow, a bend in the mental health stats. They all begin going north. They all begin going up, the rates of mental illness around 2013. There's some really stunning data just out now that we're past COVID, and we have, kids have been in school for a couple of years. And what you see is a little increase from COVID, but this is on like a mountain range, going up from baseline to the top of Mount Everest. And along the way, just near the top, you do see a little spike that's COVID. But Mount Everest is from the phone-based childhood. It's not from COVID. COVID didn't leave a lasting mark in anything like the way the transformation of childhood did. And those graphs, those numbers were going down a little bit in the 2010s for the millennials, born 1981 to 1995. They have actually pretty good mental health. And it was getting slightly better. And then when the first member of Gen Z, born 1996, when that first kid got a smartphone and an Instagram account and moved her life onto that cut off real relationships with other kids.
Well, the top audiences for this episode of What in the World on YouTube are in the US, in India and in Vietnam. And while most of our viewers are aged 18 or older, well, there are a few under 16s also watching this one too. And there are lots of comments beneath the video. Emily writes that in Brazil, phones are already prohibited in schools by law. And Eliza asks, why is no one talking more in depth about adult social media usage? Do look for us, BBC World Service, on YouTube, where you can watch many of our podcasts and find some incredible BBC Eye investigations too. We're also on Instagram, on Facebook and on X, and you can listen to our programmes and podcasts via bbc.com. Thank you for liking, commenting and of course for listening. The presenter was me, Anna Doble, and the producer was Jay Unger. Annyeong.